Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and today doing a Dark Magician of Chaos Endymion deck profile. So I'm really excited to do this for you guys because this deck is actually suggested by one of my patrons, Braxton. And this deck is an extremely fun deck to play because it summons out one of the most iconic spellcasters ever created, the Dark Magician of Chaos, while also using the Endymion cards to go in for game. So without further ado, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards. Again, your name is for any single video, getting assigned cards in the mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month to your Patreon. And definitely give Braxton some love down in the comments down below for suggesting such an awesome deck. So let's get straight on into this one, guys. So first off, we're going to be playing 2 copies of Dark Magician of Chaos. This is our main boss monster we're playing in the deck that's actually super easy to summon to your side of the field with all the amazing tech cards I'm playing in this deck. This card has a great ability that during the end phase, if this card was normal or special summon this turn, you can actually target one spell card in your graveyard and add it to your hand, which is a crazy powerful effect to be able to use in this deck to get to cards like Spell Power Mastery, which is so cool. This card also has the ability if it destroys an opponent's monster at battle, you actually banish that monster, which is insane because a lot of cards want to go to the graveyard and don't want to be banished, which is why this card is so powerful. We then play 3 copies of Magician Soul. Magician Soul is amazing to help you summon out your copy of the Dark Magician. This card is really good as a draw engine as well because it has the ability you can send up to 2 spell and trap cards from your hand or face up from field to graveyard to draw that many cards. And if this card is in your hand, you can send a level 6 or higher spellcaster monster from your deck to the graveyard to activate one of these effects, either special summon this card or send it to the graveyard to special summon Dark Magician from your graveyard, which is a great ability to instantly get your copy of Dark Magician on your side of the field, so you can use it with dedication through light and darkness, so you can summon out Dark Magician of Chaos. We then play a single copy of Magician's Rod. Magician's Rod is a great normal summon in the deck, but you only need a single copy of this card in the build because we can get to it with our copy of Illusion of Chaos. This card is great because when you normal summon it to your side of the field, you can actually add from your deck to your hand dedication through light and darkness because it mentions Dark Magician in its text, so we can turn Dark Magician into Dark Magician of Chaos. We then play a single copy of the ultimate wizard in terms of attack and defense, the Dark Magician, which is so cool to be able to play this card in the deck so we can summon out our copy of Dark Magician of Chaos. We then play 2 copies of Illusion of Chaos. This card is great as a 2-of in the deck to be able to search out your copy of Magician's Rod or Magician's Soul, whichever piece that you need, so you can summon out your boss monster. We then play 3 copies of Endymion, the Mighty Master of Magic. This card is an amazing 3-of boss monster in the deck that's super easy to summon to your side of the field, but it's absolutely crazy once it hits the field, which is why we're playing 3 copies in this build. We then play 3 copies of Servant of Endymion. This card is a definite 3-of in the build. It's probably one of the most powerful pendulum monsters in the entire deck, with a crazy pendulum effect that each time a spell card is activated, you place 1 spell counter on this card when that spell resolves. And you can remove 3 spell counters from this card to be able to special summon both this card from your pendulum zone and 1 monster from your deck with 1,000 or more attack that you can place a spell counter on. And if you do, place a spell counter on each, which is a great ability just to instantly get this card out on your side of the field and summon out really powerful pendulum monsters that you can put spell counters on, like Jackal King, which is just absolutely amazing. We then play a single copy of Reflection of Endymion. You only really need a single copy of this card, but it has a very similar effect to your copy of Servant of Endymion that you can remove 3 spell counters from this card to be able to special summon both this card from your pendulum zone and 1 monster from your hand that you can place a spell counter on, and if you do, place 1 spell counter on each, which is a great ability. We then play a single copy of Magister of Endymion. Again, you only need a single copy of this card, just like your copy of Reflection. And this card has a similar effect, just like your copy of Reflection and Servant, that you can do 3 spell counters from this card, special summon this card from your pendulum zone, and it actually has the ability to special summon 1 face-up monster from your extra deck that you can place a spell counter on, and then place a spell counter on each, which is a really cool ability about this card. We then play a single copy of Master Cerberus. Master Cerberus is a great boss monster in this deck. This card is absolutely insane at spot removing cards off the field, and each time a spell card is activated, you place 2 spell counters on this card when that spell resolves. And it cannot be destroyed by card effects, so you have 4 or more spell counters on the field, meaning it doesn't even have to be on this card. It can be on a completely different card, which is absolutely crazy. It also has the ability once per turn, you can remove a total of 4 spell counters from your side of the field, and then target 1 monster your opponent controls and banish it face up. And if you do, this card gains attack equal to the banished monster's original attack until the end of the opponent's turn, making this card absolutely massive, so you can swing for a lot of damage. We then play a single copy of Jackal King. Jackal King is really good because this card is actually a walking negate, which is why we play this card as a 1-of in the build. We then play 3 copies of Magical Abductor. Magical Abductor is great in this deck as a 3-of because it has the ability each time a spell card is activated, you place a spell counter on this card, and once per turn you move 3 spell counters from this card to add a level 1 spellcaster type monster from your deck to your hand, essentially searching out your copy of Magician's Soul so you can get another piece for your combo so you can summon out Dark Magician of Chaos. We then play a single copy of Spellbook Magician of Prophecy. This card is a part of the Spellbook engine we're playing in the deck. So when this card is normal summon, you can actually add a Spellbook spell card from your deck to your hand, like your copy of Secret or Knowledge, to be able to go in for draws, which is just really good, while also activating more spell cards so you can get more spell counters on the field. We then play 2 copies of Water Enchantress. Water Enchantress is a great 2-of in the deck, so it helps you get your copy of Rite of Arameser so you can get to Fateful Adventure. We then play a single copy of Wandering Griffin Rider. This card is an amazing card to be able to use with your adventure package because this card is actually a walking negate and it's super easy to get to with your copy of Fateful Adventure. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to start off with a single copy of Upstart Goblin. The reason you're playing Upstart Goblin in this build, even though we're playing a lot more than 40 cards, is because it is a spell card that you can basically activate for free to draw a card. So we can get more spell counters on our side of the field, which is why you always want to play this card in a deck that involves spell counters, because it's just going to give you a draw and give you multiple spell counters on your side of the field, depending on the cards that can hold spell counters and get spell counters when a spell resolves. We then play a single copy of Into the Void. Into the Void is the exact same reason as Upstart Goblin, plus we play multiple cards in our hand in a turn, and you can go through your entire hand in this deck, so you don't even have to send them to the graveyard during the end phase, which is not that big of a deal with this card. We then play a single copy of Foolish Burial. Foolish Burial in this deck is basically like the 3rd copy of Water Enchantress, because this card is a spell card. It's going to give you spell counters, which is really good, and it basically counts as another copy of Water Enchantress, which is why we're just playing this card over the 3rd copy of Water Enchantress. And then play a single copy of Instant Fusion. This is so we can get a walking negate on our side of the field in the form of Millenniumized Restrict, which is just really, really good. We then play a single copy of Spellbook of Knowledge. This card helps us draw 2, which is just really nice, and plus it's a part of the Spellbook engine in the deck. Play 2 copies of Secrets. This card is the Rhoda for your Spellbook package, and it's a really good card in this particular build, which is why we're playing this card as a 2-of in the deck. We're playing 2 copies of Rite of Arameser. This gives us an adventure token while also getting us to our copy of Fateful Adventure, which is just really good. Speaking of Fateful Adventure, we also play a single copy of Fateful Adventure. This card is the entire adventure engine in one card, which is just so important. It helps you get to cards like Draco back, your copy of Griffin Rider. It's really important for this deck and a definite 1-of in the build. We then play a single copy of Draco back. Speaking of Draco back, this card is really good because it does bounce a card off the field, and you're always going to equip this card to your copy of your adventure token, and it's just a really important card in the deck. We then play 2 copies of Dedication Through Light and Darkness. This card helps you get at your copy of the Dark Magician. It lets you shoot a Dark Magician to be able to special summon out Dark Magician of Chaos from your hand, deck, or your graveyard, essentially turning your copy of Dark Magician into the Chaos version, which is amazing. We then play 3 copies of Spell Power Mastery. Spell Power Mastery is so good in this deck as a 3-of because it lets you add an Endymion card from your deck to your hand. Then you can count the number of spell Spell Power Masteries and Spell Power Grasp that you control and are in your graveyard, and place that many spell counters among cards that you control and that you can place a spell counter on, which is great to be able to do because it's going to give you multiple spell counters, and then it's going to give you multiple spell counters depending on how many of these cards you've used, and you can recover this card with Dark Magician of Chaos, which is amazing. This card is a definite 3 in the deck. It's probably the best target in this deck to be able to recover with your copy of Dark Magician of Chaos. We then finally play 3 copies of Preparation of Rites. Preparation of Rites is really good as a 3 of in the deck because it helps you get to your copy of your Illusion of Chaos so that we can search out Magician's Rod or Magician's Soul depending on the piece that you need off your copy of Illusion of Chaos. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, guys, we're going to start off with Selene, Queen of the Master Magician. This card is a definite 3 of in the build because you can easily go through 3 of this card. It helps you special summon back a spellcaster monster from your graveyard by removing 3 spell counters from this card, which is just really good to be able to do. Plus, it just generates spell counters, which is really, really important. We then play a single copy of Access Code. Access Code's amazing in the deck because it's very easy to climb from Selene into this card, which is really amazing. Plus, it gets absolutely massive. We play a single copy of Apollousa. Apollousa is really good because it's very easy to summon to your side of the field to give you multiple monster negates. Play a single copy of Exceed the Pendulum. Exceed the Pendulum works in pretty much any pendulum deck, which is why we're playing this card as a 1 of in the build. Plus, its arrows are amazing. This card is a really good 1 of in this build. Play a single copy of Beyond the Pendulum. This card is great to help you search out pendulum monsters from the deck and also pop cards on the field, which is really nice. 1 copy of Crowley. Crowley is one of the MVPs of the extra deck, and it's just really cool is if this card is link summon, you can reveal 3 spellbook spell cards with different names in your deck, and your opponent randomly picks 1 to add to your hand. Also shuffle the rest back in the deck, and it also has a really insane ability that each turn you can normal summon a level 5 or higher spellcaster monster without tributing, meaning I can literally normal summon out the copy of Dark Magician of Chaos without even tribute summoning, which is just so cool. If you have 1 stuck in your hand, you can link summon into this card and then basically just normal summon out your copy of Magician of Chaos, which is just really cool. And then play a single copy of SP Little Knight. If this card is a really expensive card to you, you can change it out for Nightmare Unicorn for a more budget option, but this card is great because it is a double interruption against the opponent. Then play a single copy of IP Masquerena. IP is just really good because you can make your copy of SP Little Knight using this card during your opponent's turn. Play a single copy of Cross Sheep. Cross Sheep is amazing because we do fusion summon in this deck, which is really good. We play a single copy of Artemis. Artemis is great in any spellcaster deck and is just really good in this particular build. 1 copy of Odd Eyes Absolute Dragon, because we do play level 7s, and when this card does touch the graveyard, you get to summon out your copy of Vortex Dragon, and Vortex Dragon is a walking negate, which is why I play this card as a 1 of in the build to summon off your copy of Absolute Dragon. We then play a single copy of Millennium Eyes Restrict. Millennium Eyes Restrict is an amazing 1 of in the deck to be able to summon off your copy of Instant Fusion to give you a negate. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. This deck is super fun to be able to play. If you guys have never played a Magician deck that plays the copies of Dark Magician of Chaos, you should definitely give this deck a try because it summons it out so easily in this build. And plus, the Endymion cards are just really cool to be able to use as an engine to be able to back this deck up. So that's going to do it for this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can become part of the notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.